I'm Pastor Toot Whitley, and this is Conversion Therapy, a podcast where I help lost lambs back to the heterosexual pasture. As you may know, I myself am a reformed homosexual. In fact, I once ran a dating service in Portland called He Done Already Done Had Transgenders Is, wherein I would match trans mask pillow princes with trans mask touch-me-nots. Now the only stone I'm concerned with is the one rolled away from the tomb where Jesus rose from the dead. This is usually the point of the episode where I introduce a gay comedian who I convert to straight, with 100% success rate, I might add. But today we're doing something special. I've invited some religious figures from another house of worship to share resources and swap stories, in the hopes of making both of our conversion practices stronger. So please welcome our guests today, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourselves.
I'm Brent Vuffelhauser. I run the Joyous Connection congregation over in West Hollywood.
The JCC.
Exactly, the JCC. Praise be. And this is my son, Boy.
Hi, I'm Kendall Vuffelhauser.
And you are also part of the church, of course.
Oh my gosh, yes. I'm totally a part of the church. I love it so much.
Wow, that's really interesting. We don't normally have guests bring on their children, but it's clear that the light of God is really shining through you, and this is as important to you as it is to your father.
Yes, I completely look up to him and follow in his footsteps.
I mean, we teach about legacy over at the JCC. So I try to model that legacy every way I can by bringing my boy with me. I mean, my boy's on my back 24/7, whether I like it or not.
Yeah.
That's a really beautiful connection you two have. This, as we know, as was sort of shown to us by God and Jesus, ain't no relationship stronger than a father and his son.
Exactly.
Definitely.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I want to know a little bit more about the Church of Joyous Connection. That was, and I wonder if you could both speak to, what your roles look like at that church.
Well, to be completely transparent, I was a little nervous coming on here today because, we've got old school, new school.
Absolutely.
A lot of, men of the cloth take some issue with my approach. But, what we find at the JCC is as we want to do social media driven God connection. Okay. Because the front lines of the holy war, it ain't just in the church anymore. I grew up, blood of the lamb, hellfire and brimstone, Southern Baptist. They don't like me over there anymore.
Wow. I understand. I can feel myself, sort of getting up on my haunches, thinking about all the things that need to be sacrificed in order to, access an audience of young people. But I got to say, I'm happy to have you here to discuss and learn from you, because part of the reason why we do this podcast is to follow in your footsteps in sort of a way. We got to find a way to connect to our youth. There are Catholic youth all over this nation that don't have access to, a sort of programming that decides that one thing is really good, another thing is really bad, and if you don't do the thing we specifically are saying is good, then you're going to go to hell.
You got to meet the youth where they're at. And, if they need to look up to you. I've had other men of the cloth judging me for my drip. Is what we refer to as a desirable, fashionable clothing. I'm not sure. Yeah.
So that's sort of your dress code at the church. Is always got to have some sort of, as you call it, drip factor.
Yeah, it's dripping.
Right?
Everything's dripping.
Everything's dripping.
Dripping.
And you seem very concerned with that, Kendall, that things continue to drip.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that dripping is one of those things that it doesn't come naturally to everyone. And so you really have to welcome people in because not everyone might feel comfortable expressing themselves through clothing and dripping clothes. And so you want to make sure that they have that space too.
Yeah, you're making drip accessible. Which is, I think, a very beautiful thing to be doing.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of our congregants, they're very high profile people, celebrities, I won't name names, but the Biebers have come in.
Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't name any names.
But
just for
people
privacy.
The Jenners have come in.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of, folks from the comedy space. They're very private, so I won't name them.
And I will say, I've been seeing some posts on your social media account of this drip. I think it's very powerful that, you're teaching about Jonah and the whale while you're wearing sort of like a shirt with a cause sculpture on it and wraparound Oakleys.
Yeah.
And you got sneakers that you pump up with your hands. And I've seen you in the back of those pictures too, wearing sort of a snake skin pant. And a mesh shirt.
Yeah.
And that is crazy how, I can imagine holes in a shirt's just more porous membrane for Jesus to flow through you.
Jesus can penetrate quite easily. Yeah.
I feel very, very connected to Jesus, to my fellow congregants.
Yeah.
I feel like when I embrace people, when I'm saying, "Oh, hi, like nice to see you," and we're touching skin to skin, it feels better that way. You know,
that's beautiful because we are in if I may speak from the old school perspective. We are consuming the body of Christ. Yeah. So why not feel the body of your fellow man while you're in church? I think that's normal as well.
I mean, if God is in everybody, can I say?
Absolutely, please.
Yeah.
I have faced so much mockery, derision, hatred from the old school.
Wow.
So the fact that you brought me in here and extended this olive branch, it means the world to me.
That's, I think that's really powerful because one of the things that we don't really get as men of the cloth is to connect with each other in sort of intimate and central ways in the eyes of the Lord.
Yeah.
And I think just having y'all in here, just two dripped out men, both young men, I might say. You're over 18. That must be.
Just barely.
Okay. Well, then I think that's something really special we need to be doing in the church. So I'm actually kind of curious. What's a typical day of worship look like over there for you guys? Not necessarily, from the morning you wake up, morning go to sleep, but I think your routines, your personal routines do influence, how you practice a sermon, how you bring people in. So I'm just curious.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I usually start my day. I lead the chapter of young. We call it the blood flowing group. So it's young blood flowing.
Flowers.
The flowers. And
water
that's
imagery.
Yeah. And that's a space where we really get our heart rates up. We get our blood flowing. And usually I teach two different sections of that. One of them is it's on like stationary bikes. So some people call it like a spin class, but I usually teach that with a lot of choreography, a lot of dancing. That's all men, and
you're leading that class.
I'm leading that class.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I actually think I've seen a picture of that. You got spandex shorts on.
Yes,
absolutely.
All the better, because afterwards we embrace, we stretch together, we feel each other's hearts racing.
This boy can move. This boy can move.
I mean, okay, yeah. I mean, I did master a double flip on the bike, so
Wow. That is incredibly impressive.
You gotta come.
Yeah.
You gotta come.
You know what I just might? I usually take a jog around the church 3-4 times, mostly looking for, detritus left behind from the most recent picnic, sort of a old Dixie cup or maybe a plastic fork jammed into the garden. But I could get my exercise on a bike, that's for sure.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
I think it's a lower impact. I mean, you're not young.
It's true. I'm 40 to 50 years old.
Yeah. So the nice thing about the bikes is it's really all age range. Like, we have 16-year-olds up to 60-year-olds. And it's a really, really beautiful space. And we play all kinds of upbeat music.
Wow. And, I've actually heard that you've sort of started weaving your way into the fabric of Christian pop. I've heard that that's something that's sort of an interest to you. And I'm just wondering, do you ever play any of your songs in class?
It's so funny. Everyone keeps asking me to. I'm a little bit shy about it, just because, it's so vulnerable to share your insides with someone. Like it's very, I worry, like, will the beat drop hard enough for people to really be able to rise to it? Will the lyrics matter to someone who's maybe never felt the rush of a convertible on the 405? You know what I mean? I don't know. Like,
These
I want it to be universal.
Yeah, pop music doesn't normally touch those things, driving fast or feelings. And I think specifically through the eyes of somebody who follows the word of Christ, that can be very powerful, perhaps even, emotionally overwhelming.
Yeah. And I want it to overtake people, but I don't want them to be scared of me, if that makes sense. So,
I mean, I do. If you would just sort of treat us to maybe like a little clip of part of one of your songs, just kind of provide for us just a little bit.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Hold on. Rough when I like it and damp when I don't. Rough in the mornings when I see you above me,
Feel me
above me.
below.
Wow, that was really beautiful.
Thank you. That's just a snippet. Like, there's a chorus, and then but I can't do because it's all the voices.
Talk about
pre-chorus.
the kind of emotions, and afterwards is when you talk about the cars driving down the highway, I guess.
Right.
But that was really beautiful. I found the music to be incredibly touching and moving.
Yeah.
And I will say, old school to new school, we've been singing those hymns for a long time. So the idea of being able to fold in, new messages that sort of reach our younger congregants, that's important stuff.
Yeah, I think young people these days, they want to be like grabbed and shaken and tossed around, and I don't think that
manhandled.
I want to be thrown across the street, and I don't feel like you necessarily get that in some of these old fashioned. No offense,
no, I can understand that. Listen, I'm there every day. I'm doing this all the time. It would be sinful for me to act as if I haven't recognized that. We've been day in, day out doing the same things, and it's not saying that we wouldn't keep on doing those songs, those sermons, but we should be updating them. Because I was doing a service the other day. We were talking about temptation, and I was going back to Garden of Eden, which that's the number one original sin, really easy way into sin. But I've heard that you've been doing sermons on temptation. We were talking about all sorts of things.
Sorts of things.
You're talking about temptation sort of as a celiac to eat gluten.
Yep.
Or temptation as somebody who has a Tesla but was really wants a Bugatti. You've been talking about all sorts of that.
That comes up a lot.
Yeah, I'm curious. What was the center of your most recent service, if I might ask? The sermon you were giving to the people just the other day.
It was greed. It was greed. As I'm sure I'm subject to a constant barrage of attacks. People accusing me of horrible things, ego, greed specifically. And what I want my congregants to come away from sort of my lessons, and not my lessons, his lessons.
Amen, praise be.
On greed is about when you have a lot but you don't share it. I have a lot, but having a lot allows me to give.
Wow.
You see? So I think, a lot of the old schools got it all wrong about it's not about how much you have. It's about whether or not you share it.
Absolutely.
Every day I'm toiling the soil of God's love. Okay. Yeah. I'm running my men's groups. I'm pushing out the content. I have a group right now in my back house of 7 Christ-centered influencer content creators.
Wow.
And you know what they're doing all day? They're making dance trends.
Wow.
That spread God's love. They're we were talking about music. I've got Diplo in there toiling away in the studio. You know what he's remixing? Oh, Come All Ye Faithful.
Wow.
You know that one?
That could be,
I think you know that one. Yeah. Drop the bass now. Come all ye faithful.
Yeah. That's really going to reach a lot of the youth.
I mean, boom.
Yeah. And that's a cross.
And then you sort of added a cross in there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that you formed sort of a Christian TikTok house out of the back of your own
Christ
house.
Avengers.
One of the first ones.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Again, we're reaching 30 to 65 people who are coming in for Mass every day. You're reaching thousands and thousands, using social media.
2 millions.
Yeah, we had the last dance trend. We have pinned on our profile if you want to check it out. We reached 4.5 million viewers.
4.5.
Wow.
32K uses of the sound.
And you know what? I think that's beautiful because we are constantly worried about saving the souls of our young people.
Yep.
They are at risk of going to hell.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason why we do the work we do specifically in conversion therapy. We want those young people to get into the gates of heaven. That's an important thing for us. So the idea that you potentially saved millions of souls with these videos. I think that if and I know that this is pretty controversial. I didn't mean to bring this up as a gotcha. This is more so we could talk about it.
You can't get me.
That I know there was an article put out recently that kind of examined the spending of the Joyous Congregation Church. And that was a barefaced attack. You're becoming sort of very shy as I'm talking about this.
I know. It's okay to talk about
it. They came for Kendall specifically.
Right.
They came for, and I'll tell you what, the devil works hard but Brett works harder.
I don't doubt that,
You know?
because I think, the way that they broke down the spending there, they were talking about how, about you ask for every congregant to donate amount of money between $500,000 to $4 to $5 million.
Yeah.
And that you say that this is going to go into, creating more men's groups, as you call them, the sweat and stuff men's group where you all, hold hands and pray in a sauna. Or the big oily lubed up men's group where it's about sort of getting each other's bodies worked out, nice and massaged.
It's about lessons of the flesh. It's a lesson of the flesh, because the thing of sins of the flesh is no matter how hard you grip onto them, they'll slip out, in and out, slipping in and out, bar soap in the hand, like a bar soap in the hand. So there's a lot of critiques.
You're saying that is where the funding's going, but I think this expose really focused on the fact that, like, a couple sermons ago, you were wearing a watch that could be valued at about $750,000, and the thought is, if you're spending all your time in the church, where might that funding be coming from? And those attacks must be very hard to face, and especially as a family. Like, do you find that it affects your ability to interact with congregants when stories like this are coming out?
I mean, I think we're very lucky in that the congregants that are more impactful, or the ones that are more on, I don't want to say on our side, but are more aligned with, I think that they are really supportive. And so, they were still coming to my classes. They were still, embracing me at services and things like that. But I think that, it's really hard when people sort of decide that you're the enemy just because you are, because you want to get a yacht for your birthday.
Don't cry.
A normal thing, to want to party with my friends and and express myself and buy the boots, buy the boots that I want. So.
And that's so hard. I'm sorry, I don't mean to make you get emotional. It's a really tough thing to be talking about.
Emotional.
Every young boy should have access to, going on a yacht with his friends and having a big pair of boots that are, sort of like a new moon boot.
Yeah, they're like platform, and they've got laces that go.
They have these amazing, you press a button, springs come out of them, shoot you up closer to God. Wow. I might add.
Yeah, and I was so excited to debut them at services, but it's just.
And you will, boy. No, what really frustrates me is, number one, they're acting like, it's some big secret I'm wearing Balenciaga. Baby, the logo's right there every Sunday.
It's true.
The logo's right there every Sunday.
Absolutely. You're not hiding nothing.
I'm not hiding Jack, may I say? Shiz.
Wow.
I'm not hiding Jack shiz.
No, he's not. He doesn't hide anything.
Number two.
No shiz hidden.
Money is a blessing. Thou who is anointed by God is the most blessed.
Yes.
That's in the Bible. So all of these, vulture.com, that's a great name because that's what they are. Vultures. Vultures. Expose. Tell my congregants something they don't know. Tell my 2.7 million followers across platforms, they see the logo. They know what Pastor Brett's
and that's
about.
what they like about
and
Pastor
Brett.
Brett.
That's what they like
that's
about
what they
Pastor
like about
Brett.
us.
I'm sorry, the young people, with all due respect to, they're not going to be listening to some schmuck with a white square on his neck, They're not going to be.
Well, some might, some do, but I do understand.
With all due respect to.
I have one of those collars. It just doesn't have a shirt attached.
Right, it's sort of like a halter situation.
It's just the collar. It's just the collar.
It's just the collar.
Yeah, and people definitely listen to me when I wear it.
Well, there's this place. He's always going. He's always preaching. I didn't tell you. Mom and I were looking at your phone. You're always going to the Abbey. And
like the Abbey, where nuns might go.
Yes. And he's always wearing that exact kind of thing when he's going to the Abbey. And I just think it's old school versus new school. New school. We all got old school versus new school.
Nude school. So that's what you've been. Nude school. So I'm old school, and because a lot of your sermons, at least in your men's groups, really do revolve around nudity.
Yeah.
So I would say old school versus nude school. That's for sure.
Yeah. If you can't be naked in front of God, who can you be naked in front of?
Absolutely. I mean, he's seen you naked.
Yeah.
He's seen your naked soul, frankly.
He prefers you naked.
Okay, so we're going to do, maybe I thought it might be fun to do a little game together, build some new ways to worship together. So I prepared a game called Word at a Time Prayer. So we'll just go down the line and say one word at a time. I'll start us off. I have some words that might inspire, and we'll build some new prayers here together, Okay.
I'm ready to receive.
Okay. Love
is
Smothering
our
stomachs,
until
Jesus.
touches
me.
Okay, well, I do think I think that was very beautiful. Okay, we did go nude school with that quite a bit at the end,
right.
but that's okay. I think that's gorgeous what
Okay.
we just built together.
Me too.
I'd love to do another one.
All
Me
right.
too.
Okay.
This one, let's make it good.
I think,
I thought that
listen,
was good.
we can only go up from here.
Yeah.
We started somewhere gorgeous, and I think we're going to
I think
go
we're
somewhere
gonna stick
gorgeous
straight
too.
up.
Okay. Satan,
doesn't
Care.
if
you
Are
a
nice
stupid.
boy
who
Dances.
alone
in
His
room
and
takes.
off
his
Hat.
when,
he
Gets.
well, I mean, there's only one thing to say here. Aroused.
Yep.
Satan doesn't care if you're a nice boy who takes off your hat when you get
Just
aroused.
Just kidding.
He'll come for you just the same. You know,
come
and that's
for
a
you
really
just the same.
important lesson to learn.
I feel like
Hat
there's
on or off, the arousal's the problem.
the arousal's the problem. You can't hide it with your hat.
No. Okay, got a couple more here.
All right.
Start. Truth
Loves
Me.
when
I
Take.
my
skin
Off.
and
rub
It.
clean. Truth loves me when I take my skin off and rub it
clean.
clean.
You know,
I
I've been
like
thinking
that
a lot
one.
about taking your skin off and rubbing it
Absolutely.
clean because
That's what a
if
coincidence.
we remove
Nothing to be ashamed of.
no, but I've been thinking about going down to that sort of mythical river and washing yourself clean, taking your flesh, hanging it out to dry.
Absolutely,
And you know what
clothespins.
happens when you take your flesh out and hang it out to dry? It becomes tighter.
That's true, and it's really important to be tight. Really, just sort of tight.
Glove-like fitting skin. That's what I'm going for.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I feel like the tighter you are, the more turgidly you're holding God's message in.
Yeah.
Well,
You know?
and how it's so much harder for bad energy to get in.
Yeah.
It's true. It acts as a sort of barrier, the tightness.
Yes.
I say this to all the men who come through my conversion therapy program as I'm saying, we're going to get you tight, first
Yeah.
of all. We're going to make sure you're tight when you leave here.
It sees you up.
I imagine a lot of the men you work with come in pretty loose. And
do.
I know you know what that means.
Oh yeah, you know, as a reformed homosexual myself, it was
Yeah.
an entire journey to sort of make sure that my anatomy was being reassessed,
Yeah.
and updated in order to serve God in my
Yep.
most powerful way. And
Yeah,
I was
you
going
gotta-
from loose to tight. That was part of it.
What
That's
did
for sure.
it look like before?
Well, before, you know, I was doing all sorts of things. Like, I've been known to run around town with sort of daddies, twinks, otters, bears, polar bears, you know.
And you were what are those?
So these are all elements of homosexuality, sort of nicknames that could be given to different groups. So bear's kind of like a bigger, hairier guy.
Well, you don't seem
know.
too hairy to me, too.
No, you know, this is part of it, though, is I used to be like really hairy. I had big, strong pecs, sort of rippling abs, sort of big, rock hard ass, tight little hole.
Yeah.
And you're interested in that? You're sort of hearing that with
I-
interest?
no,
Okay.
I'm sorry. I
Nope,
didn't mean
you're
to-
drooling a little
I
bit.
wasn't-
That's
no.
okay. Just sneeze. And I would be sort of drenched head to foot in hair. And I will say I was popular out there. You know, Toot had a nickname to him about him. It was like 2-time-Toot because you could never get enough the first time.
You were cheating.
Well, you know, I was in homosexual relationships that were based off of open sexuality, so there was no cheating to be had. But that's
everything
part
was
of the
allowed.
sin,
Like
And
polygamy?
exactly.
I know
Which
this.
you know is, I think, part of quite a few religions, but it's not a part of mine.
Yeah, it's not
I think you know when you're homosexual, all sorts of doors are open to let sin in, and so now I'm in because I'm a man of the cloth. I don't have anyone special in my life, but I rid myself of the body hair. You know, I've worked my hardest to get rid of my rippling muscles, and I've kept my whole tight though. You know, because
That's
you know,
good.
they're really important. Yeah.
Out of those categories, which one would I be?
Like of the different categories of, well, you probably fall into a twink territory,
Twink.
just sort of small, slight, young man.
That's why people have been commenting on those videos. Twink. I'm like, what is this? A snack I never heard of?
Yeah. Yeah, so you'd probably be a twink, and I'm sure, you'd have all sorts of interests of men who are looking sort of pass you around 6 ways to Sunday. Yeah. But, as we know, you're not doing that. You're you're spending your weekends over at an abbey with some nuns.
Yeah.
You're a ladies' man. You're a ladies' man.
Yeah, exactly.
My son is a ladies' man. I mean, he's got to deal with temptations of the flesh all the time because the ladies are all over him.
Yeah, have you, and listen, you're not a man in the cloth yourself. Has there been anyone special? Any special young ladies who've sort of caught your eye? You've been spending time
whose
with?
panties did I find in your drawer the other day?
Oh!
No one special yet. That was just Mary, my friend Mary.
Mary, that's a very holy name.
What's
Mother
her
of
last
Jesus.
name?
Yeah.
Suzanne.
Mary Suzanne. Wow, she's classic.
Now that
lady.
is a name. That is a name.
Mary Suzanne.
Suzanne.
What do you do when you're together? You and Mary Suzanne. What kind of conversations do you have?
We watch movies. And
I know that move when you're yawning. Put your arm around her shoulder. You and Mary Suzanne cuddling up nice and close, but you're picking some horror movies.
Mary Suzanne.
Yeah, I mean, really, she's putting her arm around my shoulder.
Wow, that's
she's
good. So
a
it's
bit taller than me.
Okay.
Okay, well, that's fine. It's kind of nice to have a lady who... there ain't nothing wrong with being short. Just means you have to stretch harder to reach the Lord. And I know you're doing that.
I stretch really, really well.
That's gorgeous. All right, I am curious, old school, new school style. Over on my end, we have things like altar boys who are tending to, the body of Christ, the blood of Christ. We have things like communion, like the Eucharist. And I'm sort of curious, what are you doing new school style over there?
Totally.
Like, do you have something that swaps in and out
Yeah.
for what are you working with?
We have interns.
Oh, wow.
Really...
Instead of altar boys, you have interns.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, it's rigorous, too. I'm sensing a tone. It's rigorous. And, Toot, I'll get you. Just kidding. We got interns. A lot of them, they come from various sort of seminaries. They're filtering in their best and their brightest and their most cutting edge students to me. And, I'm just all about hands-on experience. So they're setting up the ice bath for the ice plunge.
Right,
they're
which happens every
the cold
sermon.
Plunge. They're, cleaning off the sauna. They're finding the leaves that we use to whack people's backs with and the sort of men's sweat. They're erecting the yurts. They're laying out the flower arrangements on the ground for our women's picnics. They are picking up my dry cleaning.
Wow.
They are preparing our meals. They're watching my nieces and nephews. They're doing all kinds of stuff.
They're making sure this church is running,
exactly
smooth and clean as a whistle.
Exactly.
That's a really
they're
important
not swinging
job.
a chain with smoke coming out of it. But they're
that can be a beautiful thing in the ceremony. I mean, we use
choking everybody, making their eyes run.
Do you?
I'm just playing with you too.
That's okay. I could take it. I got the Lord at my back and Jesus at the front, and sometimes Mary on one side, Holy Ghost
Toot
on the
sandwich.
other side. Yeah, exactly.
Toot
Toot sandwich.
sandwich.
That also used to be something I did before, different meaning, of course. But I have noticed. Obviously, I use sort of a smoking incense ball to kind of cleanse church. Offer the Spirit of the Lord back into the vestibule of our gorgeous St. Paul's Cathedral, which
Vestibule.
our
You
gorgeous
saying
St.
big
Paul's
words,
Church.
too.
Yeah, I'm a man of cloth, but I also did 4-year college program as well. But that was
Whoa.
back in my
Where'd you go
homosexual
to
days.
college?
It was actually at Yale. I actually did go to Yale.
Lots of homosexuals there.
Yeah, unfortunately, absolutely. Yale, more like you are licking end. Why Yale?
Well, and they've got
YALE.
that East Coast intellectualism. They really can get inside your head, and you don't know which way's up or down. All you know is you're bent sideways.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
I will say, in the church, as you mentioned, we do sort of have a metal ball with some incense in there. I saw that you guys use a different scent, so you're spritzing Santal 33 around the church.
Yeah, we're splitting Santal 30. I mean, we've got a lot of different. I mean, this is also something that I think new school versus old school is we have partnered with so many amazing brands, Los Angeles-based brands, many of them women-owned. I might add.
Wow.
Flamingo Estate.
Flamingo Estate
Wow.
does all of our hand soaps. Yep.
Wow, hand soap, really?
Shay Mitchell off of Pretty Little Liars.
Oh yeah.
She has this new upholstery business. All of our pews.
wow, your pews are upholstered. That is a luxurious experience. I have to admit, the hard pew, though it does remind me of the asceticism I need to practice to access my love for the Lord, to sit on something kind of hard, uncomfortable, wax to the point where I'm essentially slipping off every time I try to sit down. I do think in some way, I could benefit from a little bit of this, cushiness or this sort of a softer touch as an access, because once you're relaxed, that's when, you can loosen up to kind of allow yourself to be fully
It makes it feel like you're in your living room.
And I mean, our congregants, they're giving us 25 to 99% of their income. So they expect a certain caliber of bench, them hard pews won't cut it.
I think that's very fair. I was curious. Outside of Mass, I know you've talked about, your men's groups, sort of workout groups, cold plunges, what kind of events are you doing by way of, like, we sort of do like a church picnic, or we've done a spaghetti dinner around Christmas. We have everybody down here to the basement of the church. Here we are in the basement of St. Paul's, and we set up some tables, and, we have some mothers in the community make tomato sauce. What kind of events are you doing over there to kind of extend the love of the Lord past just a sermon or a workout?
It's a good question. Well, so our rectory, it's up in the Hollywood Hills, and we got a big old pool, big old jacuzzi, big old sauna.
Yeah, the sauna. We just got the sauna.
Just got the sauna. Big old outdoor kitchen. Full staff of interns, everything. So we just like to get together because our congregation may be 3,000 strong. But we're a little church. We're a little church.
A little church at heart.
A little church at heart.
Yeah.
And, that's part of why we had our big telethon, because we wanted to, the first rectory, that was in Beverly Hills, Flats. It was beautiful, nice, 4-bedroom home. But we wanted to be able to host, because like I said, we got the back house. That's where we got our content creators.
24/7. 24 hours a day.
24 hours a day.
Yeah.
You just
they've
have
got a camera up there, so you can actually see them all times a day.
Yeah, part of the expose I was talking about earlier didn't just talk about the money you were spending, but they were saying that some of the footage from that 24-hour camera leaked, and that those interns were sometimes wearing sort of a shock collar, and if it seemed like maybe they were sleeping past their allotted 15 to 25 minutes, they'd get a little zap, so they'd come up with
as a
dance.
Catholic man, I don't know why you would be coming at my neck for this kind of thing.
I'm just saying,
we were inspired by the type of things that y'all do.
It's true, Jesus did have a crown of thorns.
Yeah. Well, and also
they're honored to wear the collars.
It's so interesting. Vulture ran this article trying to expose me and my brethren, but they couldn't get one of my content creators to come and speak out against me.
Wow.
It's interesting. It's just interesting.
Yeah, some might argue that they might have felt a pressure not to speak out, given that, physical violence has been enacted. But it could also be that their connection to you is just so powerful.
Well, they're running through about 50 pounds of oats a month, so...
Yeah, the feeding bags were an interesting part of that expose. But I do think what you're doing over there, it's clearly working. That content is reaching people. So one must say, which is the lesser of two evils, a handful of 15 to 21-year-olds, just sort of dancing till there's not a...
The blood was staged.
The blood was staged.
It's not real. It wasn't real.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'll just say it. The crux of the article was our 5K broken glass crawl to Jesus. And you know what? The 5K...
I was building up to that. Yeah, I'm glad that you just came out and said it, though.
The 5K broken glass crawl to Jesus is something, I have even got...
That was sponsored by Tough Mudder, I heard.
Yeah. It's a different kind of Tough Mudder, which, by the way, when heathens and sinners... slathering themselves in mud, rolling down a hill, that's okay. But when 6 to 8 beautiful blonde boys with a combined social media following of 25 million want to crawl through 5 kilometers of broken glass in the Malibu mountains, all to show their love and raise awareness for starving children at our sister congregation.
I love that it was raising awareness for starving children, too.
People don't know.
Yeah. Raising awareness for the starving children at our sister congregation in Johannesburg? Then it's a problem?
I don't know why that's a problem.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, sure. No, okay. And we live in the upside down world. But that's the thing, is when everyone around you is crazy, the one sane person, They're the zealot. Okay.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy to think that people would be speaking out about young boys dragging their bodies across a glass for 5 kilometers.
Ridiculous.
But they sure are aware of the starving children at our sister congregation in Johannesburg.
Wow.
They sure are aware.
Wow.
People definitely know.
So you're going to sort of be diverting any funds over there? Or?
Well, the funds are paying for the surgeries, but
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
sort of
we're
loops
out of
back
funds.
around.
Yeah.
After 5K of crawling, it turns out the glass gets embedded a lot deeper than we thought.
The shards were tiny.
Exactly, and opening a wound.
Well, and that's why
glass going
sometimes
in.
you can't have interns do everything, because we had the seminary interns smashing the glass, and I said not too small.
I was watching them, and they were just like going crazy with it.
And you'll work on speaking up better next time.
They weren't listening.
Okay, well, it does sound like your programming is very far-reaching. It's been covered in a lot of major tabloid magazines, but also you've had TV specials about your congregation. The people who, as you said, attend your congregation, they have no small following. They're speaking to their followers, too, on social media. It does feel like you're helping usher in a new wave of Christianity, of Catholicism, especially here in Los Angeles, which, regardless of the means, by which you get there, I have to say I admire. Quite frankly, it is really impressive, the work that you're doing. And part of the reason why I was hoping to have you on is to discuss old school, new school, what your conversion therapy program is like. Because, over on our end, we're working with masculinity expert Skid Beef, who, of course, has his own following.
Skid,
I've heard you and Skid go way back.
We go way back. He's come through.
Yeah, that's gorgeous. And I'm glad to hear that. And then we also have on the other side our femininity coach, Vanessa Thigh Gap, of course, of the Thigh Gap women's group, who also does sort of they sell vitamins and makeup as well, and the sort of scheme. It's sort of like the scheme's sort of like a rhombus. But in any case, those are the people who we're mostly working with, and then it's me who's face to face with all these people who are coming in for therapy. So I'm quite curious, what does your programming look like?
Well, first of all, we don't consider it conversion therapy because, of course, that term is so stigmatized. People hear that, their eyes roll back, they're not listening anymore. Conversion implies going from one thing to another, but the promise of homosexuality, the satisfaction of the flesh was a mirage to begin with. You can't convert from something fake to something real.
Wow.
It's
really
more of a
powerful.
deprogramming from the homosexual cult, from the gender cult. And this is something, reporters think they got you. They got me because we're new school. We're supposed to somehow be pro-homosexual. But we look at the scripture, it says God loves everyone, but he ain't letting just anyone into heaven.
That is very true. I haven't thought about it that way, where it is true that there's not a person who doesn't walk in Christ's light. He really does, praise his name, love everybody. Yeah. But many a story discusses who is, sorted into the yes, you're going to heaven, or no, you're not pile.
Yeah, and they are piles. They're
Just sort of
piles
tossed on
of
the pile.
writhing, breathing people touching each other.
I mean, it's awful. You read about it, and it's everybody's screaming,
It's
everybody's
like
wet,
chaotic,
and not like they just did a sweat lodge.
No.
Which, you seem particularly disgusted by the idea of wet, screaming people on each other.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when it's disorganized, like when you don't all have like a collective mission, which is like, maybe to burn calories or to, sculpt your body, or if you're not dancing, then maybe you shouldn't be on the dance floor.
Yeah, absolutely. And God does, as we, said earlier in the prayer we said together, when you're alone and you take your hat off, that's when God's with you the most. I'm pretty sure it's what we said, which is very beautiful. Okay, well, actually, I was thinking we could play another game.
Yes.
I was curious. I thought we'd have a little fun. We could play a game called I Like My Prayer Like I Like My Blank.
Ooh.
So I'm going to list some categories, and we'll try to cleverly link them back to our prayer practices.
All
So,
right.
like, as an example, our first category will be beverages.
Okay.
I like my prayer like I like my coffee. First thing in the morning. Just something a little slight like
That's
that.
real sweet.
In beverages. Any beverage you could do.
All right.
Okay. I like my prayer like I like my Diet Pepsi. Bubbly and filling my mouth.
Yeah, okay. That's beautiful. Yeah, sort of the light of the Lord, the effervescence of the Lord in your mouth.
I like my prayer like I like my whiskey. New school. Burns on its way down, but feels so good coming back out.
Wow. That's very powerful. That's very powerful. I might even say, okay, I like my prayer like I like my hot chocolate. Okay. Little too hot at first, but if you let it cool down, it'll warm you right up.
Yep.
That's beautiful.
Really beautiful. We can do another category if you'd like.
Sure.
Here, okay. How about weather? Weather. So I like my prayer like I like my weather. So I like my prayer like I like my rainstorm. Slow trickle at first, but then I'm drenched to the core.
Oh,
that's beautiful. I like my prayer like I like my hurricane all around me and making me feel like I can't see the way out.
Okay.
then you gotta trust.
Yep, little grim, but that's fine. We'll move on.
I like my prayer like I like my tsunami. Walloping and drags the sinners right down.
Wow. And, I do think they've done some scientific studies about who a tsunami targets, and it usually is sinners, statistically.
Definitely.
It's sinners. Well, they say you got to be standing on a mountaintop, get to high ground to avoid the tsunami.
And you know who was on a mountaintop? Moses.
Jesus. And you know who else is always elevated? Because it's a metaphorical mountaintop. That's
Absolutely.
what I love about the anointed.
Wow. It's true. They're always reaching new heights. All right, we'll do one more of these, maybe. Okay. How about you could do a little naughty one. I want to get a little new school with you.
All right,
I want to get a little new school.
Toot new school.
I can hang. I can play.
Definitely.
Okay, so
you can try.
I like my prayer like I like my undergarment. So I like my prayer like I like my bras. Extra support. And lifting me up.
That's good.
I like that one.
That's funny too.
Yep.
Clip that. That'll go viral.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I will.
Yeah,
I will.
That's viral. Do you want to go?
I like my prayer like I like my boxer briefs. Calvin Klein and skin tight.
Wow. Tight. Can't let any of the sin in. Can't let any of the Lord out. That's for sure.
Exactly.
And what about you, Kendall? Take it away.
Okay. I like my prayer like I like my lace soft and with me.
Kendall.
Okay, that's all right. That's all right. That's really...
No, see, Kendall's confused because he had a twin baby girl in the womb that he absorbed. So he sometimes struggles with these issues. But, the fact that he stands here before us today, a successful EDM Christian recording artist, world-renowned spin instructor. Kendall, what is it, boy? Don't tell me nothing.
You said when... I just wear my for the aerobics classes. That's what I meant.
Oh yeah, I hear lace is pretty run of the mill for an aerobics class too.
Kendall, I'm not happy.
Okay,
I still love you, Kendall.
Okay.
Okay. You know what? I am curious. When do you feel your personal faith is tested the most? I think it's really important that we, as men of the cloth, understand and say to our followers, we always have issues ourselves too. We're not just living in a world where God and prayer and discipline comes easy to us. And so I am curious, when do you feel your personal faith was tested most, and how did you overcome that?
I feel like my personal faith has been tested just in people underestimating me and how much I can take. Because I can take a lot, like I'm strong and resilient, and I'm ready for more.
Right, like just one isn't enough for you. You need 3, 4, sort of conflicts at a time coming at you straight in your face.
Like at the same time, like one isn't going to knock me out in the way that I wanted it to.
Okay, that's really powerful, that people should see your resilience. And I hope they will after this podcast, Kendall.
Thank you.
Well, as you know, our congregation's in West Hollywood, and there's constant homosexual activity around us.
Yeah.
Bombardment.
There's this one ice cream store. It's called Very Gay Ice Cream. And they have these little ice cream sandwiches. It's the traditional chocolate cookie cake on the top and the bottom. In the middle, the ice cream, it's these delightful rainbow stripes. Every time I go by there, I think, what if I got one of those delightful gay ice creams? And then I said, Brett, no.
That's really powerful.
Yeah.
I feel like the idea that, you are gathering people of all stars and stripes in a certain tax bracket to experience letting go of their sin and their struggles with you. And that your plight is mostly about whether or not you should eat an ice cream sandwich,
Well, it's about more than just the ice cream sandwich, and you know that too.
Tell me more about what the temptation is there for you.
It's about engaging with the cultural legitimacy, use one of them big words you like, of homosexuality. So they can come to my house, and I will open them. Again, homosexuals, this is the biggest misconception. Practicing homosexuals, they can step into the house of the Lord.
Yeah,
However,
they won't burn up or something.
they're not going to burn up. And I love them. But if you loved someone, would you let them continue to go down a path that will lead them to hell?
That's true.
No.
And I think in all ways, big and small, we have to reject that, big in the way that you're helping with this, your deprogramming therapy, and also, small with denying a want for a rainbow ice cream sandwich. And that really is, I think it's important that people understand, takes small steps to make a big one, and in your experience of your own congregation, takes only a few meters of dragging your young body through glass before, you're at kilometer 1 and then you only have 4 kilometers left.
Well, exactly. Yeah. And you know what? I'll go in there and I'll invite them to church. And we've gotten a lot of the guys from the big gay ice creams, from, it's called Cock and Balls. Oh, I feel bad even saying that.
No, that's okay. You can.
But it's the name, it's some sort of a bar in West Hollywood, it's sex dungeons, a lot of, basically at this point, my men's groups are almost exclusively converts from them.
I hear you're also really, Kendall, that you specifically are very boots on the ground and collecting these people. You're doing a lot of the work of going into those spaces.
Yeah. I mean, I just talk to them like they're people, because they are, and they might compliment my outfit or comment on my body or something, and then it's what are you doing on Sunday?
And then you're bringing them in and you're saying, well, do I have a lace outfit for you? Because we're going to get ready in this aerobics class.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, the best question you can ask someone, you look them in their eyes, just like you said, Kendall, and you say, what are you doing on Sunday?
Right.
I think that's exactly
What
right.
Are you doing on Sunday?
You got to keep it straight to the point.
Yeah.
And you don't even, I've actually found this too, when you're bringing in new congregants, you don't want to scare people away because, exactly as you said, with conversion therapy, they have all sorts of ideas of what those words mean. And so if you say, want to come to Mass, want to come to a sermon, that might throw them right off. You say, what are you doing on Sunday?
Yeah.
You sort of say it with that.
What are you doing on Sunday? I know of a nice club of wealthy, successful people. And they've got a secret that they want to share. You look like you've got a secret you want to share, boy.
No secret. No secret.
No secrets?
No. No secrets.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Kendall, you've been acting weird this whole interview.
I just feel that, I listen, the dynamic, you know your son best. There's been some moments, I mean, is there something you want to tell us, something that might make you feel better? Have you received a powerful message from God, maybe, that you're scared to share?
Maybe that is what it is. I mean, I feel like my hands are like sopping wet.
Dry them on your beans, boy. Keep pushing.
From what must be messages from God, and I think that they're like overpowering for me and fill me up. And so I think I'm just sorting through all of the messages I'm getting.
Absolutely, sort of like a human answering machine.
Like a human answering machine,
Okay, I can accept that. I mean, I feel like it wouldn't surprise me that you've been contacted by the Lord, because I believe you actually, the first major event of your big creation of the Joyous Congregational Church was when you received a message from the Lord.
Yeah,
that was very powerful. You were that situation was covered on the local news, and became a worldwide story.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not like you. I never had struggles with homosexuality. I definitely had struggles with male femininity. I had gone to, I had this upbringing, and every teenager, dad's evil. But Kendall never thought that. So I went to a little college in Ohio called Oberlin College. Lots of homosexuals there. I was more into kind of the ultimate frisbee sort of, savage religion iconography element of it. One day, after 1 year post-grad, I'm at Burning Man. It's a little party in the desert. And I'm wearing the Eastern spiritual garb, the robes, the earrings, the beads, the jewelries, the crystals, the ropes, the chains, the leather.
You're walking, you can barely take a step without jingling or jangling.
I got so many belts wrapped around my arms. Might as well have an apple in my mouth. And they had this sort of savage medicine called ayahuasca. Ayurvedic. And I open my eyes, I see God. All of a sudden, I'm screaming. I'm ripping off the belts. I'm pulling off the rope. I'm ripping the robes
And
off.
I hear this took 40 to 50 minutes due to the amount of sort of accessories
People were gathered around.
The whole thing is live streamed on a little website at the time called Twitch.
Wow.
Ever heard of it? And all the gospel, it's coming into me. I'm like, it's gospel. I'm shouting it out. I'm drawing a crowd. Because, once again, all around me, these are sinners who have been seduced by savage imagery.
Yeah, pagan imagery, especially at
pagan
Burning
imagery.
Man. Through and through.
It's really scary.
Anyways, so to make a long story short, I spewing the gospel. That video's on Twitch. Small website then, but it's sort of events like that made it big.
Absolutely.
People are saying the spirit is coursing so far through this man's veins, it's exploding out of the top of his head. How do I get in on this? And that was when Bang Energy came in.
Wow.
And they said, we've really been looking
for a partner.
A spiritual partner.
Yeah.
And that was how I became the in-house spiritual guide for Bang Energy.
Wow.
From there, because they were running a lot of influencer
Absolutely.
houses at the time.
Yeah.
That's when I was able to find the ones who were Christian. That's how we started out our content creation group, which provided the seed funding for the temple. Oops, I'm sorry. I'm getting riled up.
Hey, no.
For the temple in West Hollywood. For the house. For the rectory.
This business plan sounds incredible because, it sounds like, you met with one company that was working with a lot of young people, helping them work, long hours together, and they found a way to sort of, what's the word? I know it starts with a T.
Funnel.
Traffic. Transition them, over to you, as these sort of workers in this house. And I think that that's really powerful because, I for one, I'll be honest with you, Brett, that I've had my hesitations about brand partnerships with the Lord, knowing that, I didn't want to fall into golden calf territory.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Of course.
However, it's clear to me that this is the way to reach more people and, ultimately offer them more, Offer them a 10% off code at checkout, Offer them, the opportunity to get sort of like a little branded carabiner or like a water bottle with a logo on it.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's why I was born.
Yeah.
Because there was a need for more, workers. And there was, that's what I was always told.
Your mama, may she rest in peace, she wanted a model. And because she was doing sort of these beige baby clothes and she was doing these sort of wooden rattles.
Yeah, everything's sort of sort of a return to old school, if you will.
Very inspired.
And actually, I think I saw some of those ads, in my yesteryear. Sometimes, actually, they would put, you mentioned Cock and Ball earlier, they put one of those ads up, and it was when you it's you on a rocking horse.
Yeah.
And it says, riding hard, riding fast, which we kind of thought there was a double entendre, which was funny. I don't think it's funny now.
No.
I don't think it's funny now.
Well, and everyone also said that his butt was too red in the ads. And I said,
right.
He's a baby.
He's been spanked.
He was being spanked. Yeah. Which, I think that's normal for a child at an ad. They should be tossed around a little bit first.
Exactly.
Before they're put on camera.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, this has been a very powerful experience for me. I am kind of curious as we head out. I thought maybe we could play another game.
Ooh,
Would
yes.
be fun. So this is a game I like to play called 5 Things. So I'll give you a category, and you give the first 5 things in that category that come to mind.
Okay.
And I'll help you keep track of them. So we could do like 1 each, maybe, and you can help each other out too. So maybe we'll start with you, Kendall.
Okay.
5 things you think about during prayer. 5 things you think about during prayer.
Well, my body.
Of course, the conduit of Christ. 1.
Yes. My hair.
Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, that's
Part of your body, boy.
Okay.
2.
Delicious foods.
3. Yeah, your mouth's watering just thinking about those delicious foods.
He loves to eat.
my
full mouth.
My friends.
4. Very important to think of your friends. Keep them in mind when you're praying. It's not just for you; it's for everybody around you.
And my connections.
Yeah, connections are important, especially in the new school. I'm surprised you didn't throw Mary in there, if I'm honest, You're not praying for Mary?
Yeah, Mary Suzanne.
Yeah,
Mary Suzanne is like, she's a friend. So
Yeah. Okay, just a friend. Just a tall friend.
Just a tall friend.
All right. Okay, I have a question for you there, Brett.
Ooh, I'm listening.
5 things you should never do during a sermon.
Take it back. Apologize. Speak too quiet. Waffle.
Yeah, you got to be firm on that.
Firm. And get too close to the mic because it makes a real spitty, breathy noise, and you might feel like you're cooking, but all they're hearing is slapping wet. It sounds like you're, whipping up some eggs or kneading a sourdough. So don't
You
get
kind
too
of
close
shuddered
to the
there
mic.
when you heard slapping wet. That was
Yeah.
interesting.
I understand what he's talking about. It's something that we've talked about.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Maybe I'll do one here. 5 lesser known parables of Jesus. So these maybe we can get a little silly.
Okay.
The tooth and the hammer. That's a really important one to our congregation, tooth and hammer. Of course, we also have disc. Disc, which is, the story in which Jesus, stops with some local friends to put together a team of people who throw a disc from side to side, which, people say is the modern creation of ultimate frisbee.
Yeah.
That was in
Frisbee.
the Bible, but, of course, it was all Lord-fearing men who were playing it, which made it easier. Of course, we have another parable, which is red flowers, which that one's a really sad one.
That one's really
and
sad.
that was the one where, Mary looks in the mirror and realizes, like, how am I going to tell Joseph?
Yeah.
And she gets him a bouquet of red flowers. How am I going to tell Joseph that I'm made pregnant by God?
Yeah.
Right.
And her and Joseph were really trying for a baby. Chips, which is actually a really fun one. And the kids love that
kids
when I'm talking
love
about the
chips.
parable of chips,
The kids love that.
It's the knowledge that even when we're snacking, we can be paying attention to the Lord. They do like that one.
Exactly.
And of course, one of the most powerful, lesser known parables of Jesus for me is horse and rod.
Oh,
Which, that's an all-timer, right, Brett?
that is an old. I mean, I start with horse and rod.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We have more in common than I thought we did.
do have more in common.
Horse and rod is great because it's about sort of like a really...
A stallion.
A stallion, yeah. Really sort of luxurious, silken-haired stallion who's sort of charging through villages looking for the best place, to lay his holy seed. And it is only when he meets a fellow traveler, this horse meets a traveler, and they realize they're a
human
perfect
traveler?
match. Yeah, human traveler. And the human traveler rod, Corinthians 12:11, that he's able to, release the seed of this horse. And that's supposed to show us that there are ways to spew our sermon all around.
Oh,
Where does he release it?
Sort of just like on the local, there's actually a congregation which later became who we know as the 12 disciples. Wow. They're just sort of sprayed. These 12 men are just sort of sprayed head to tail with the seed.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a story you might, I think, specifically be interested in, Kendall.
No.
I'm curious as we reach the end here. It's been so fun to connect and swap stories about God.
I love swapping.
Yeah, it's been really great to, connect with each other in this holy way.
I mean, this industry can be so cutthroat.
Absolutely.
It's like hard for, pastors, priests, everybody get together, just meet each other as men. We're all, sometimes it feels like it's all turf wars, brand deals, and influencer beef.
Yeah, I know that. The truth is we're all, working under the same boss. We're all serving the same Lord.
And he is not forgiving.
No, that's for sure.
Well, no, he
can forgive, but he doesn't forget.
He's capable of forgiving, but incapable of forgetting.
He's hard on us.
He's hard on us.
And I was actually curious if there's any social media handles we should be avoiding. I know there are, your social presence for your church is very strong, but I'm sure you still have sinful messages that get through from time to time. Are there any particular, followers or any particular individual accounts that we absolutely should not be visiting?
There's this non-binary person. I think they're Rue on the web.
Wow.
Sending me terrible messages, disgusting images. Yeah.
Okay, we'll make sure to put that on our block list.
He has got a little gay boyfriend. EJ, he's having I don't know. What is it?
EJ having fun.
Wow.
EJ, he's having fun.
You seem to know that handle very quickly.
He is not having fun. Or he shouldn't be having fun.
He won't be having fun when he's in hell, that's for sure.
No, he won't be having fun when he's in hell.
Take a look at the amount of shirtless photos he posts.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's horrible. And I know audiences, it's kind of upsetting because, you look through and those photos, those shirtless photos, they draw you in, and they have several thousand likes and comments, people encouraging the behavior. Same on Rue's page, if I'm honest. Those are two people whose videos come across my feed.
There's the one hand, he's small. He looks like the kind you can boom, catch him back down. But then Rue... he is. You're scared.
And the pair of them, I've seen comments like "too hot to handle."
Yeah, and you're like Rue throwing him up, spin him. I'm like, I don't
want to picture that. I don't want to picture that.
Okay, you know what? We're gonna come to the end here. Thank you so much for coming on. God bless you both. Nothing but love and light to the. That's a very tender hand you're there touching on me. And I hope for nothing but joy for your church. And
I just want to make sure that when you put this on Instagram, that you invite me as a collaborator and not just a tag.
Okay.
Because I get way more engagement on the collab. It'll be good for you too because I got so many more followers.
Wow, absolutely. I mean, we only have we only have 12 followers now. I call them my 12 disciples. So we'll get up there. We'll get up there.
Get those numbers up too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.